Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. We'll go through some of the main newspapers here in Spain, check out what is happening in the press around the country. We'll have a look at El Mundo, El País, RTVE, the state broadcaster, El Confidencial. If we have time, then at the end of the video, we'll go into the comment section and check out what is happening there. Now, there's going to be a lot of news in the press today about the Madrid elections. They are coming up, of course, as we know, on the 4th of May. So I imagine that that is going to dominate the headlines here in Spain today, but we'll try to find some other pieces of interesting news. So let's get straight into it, and we'll start off here with El Mundo, and we'll have a look at this article here about the silent fourth wave of the coronavirus. We'll click on that one, and as we can see, the story's about La Cuarta Ola Silenciosa, the fourth silent wave, and the fact that it has already claimed 5,000 deaths. And somebody quoted as saying, if we do not improve, tourists will go to other countries. Now, there's not really a lot to say about that headline. If the health situation here in Spain doesn't improve, tourists will go to other countries. No, Sherlock. Somebody has finally come to the conclusion that perhaps Spain is not the most attractive tourist destination in the world at the moment, especially with the current health situation and various autonomous communities around the country struggling to get COVID-19 under control. There are some places where the situation is better than others, of course. We know the Valencian community, it's not too bad. We know that in Murcia the health situation has improved, but the Basque country in the north of Spain, and that's the main image that we have there, people at the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao and places like Madrid struggle to get the health situation under control. And let's be honest, a lot of people are probably looking for a safer holiday destination, if there is one. We saw the other day headlines like Spain is desperate for tourism this year, but to be honest, I'm desperate to get this health situation under control here so we can get back to some type of normality, and a good idea would be to speed up the vaccination program, in my opinion. Now we'll go back into the news, and there's an article here about the Basque country with the headline, ¿Por qué el País Vasco tiene la incidencia más alta de España? Why does the Basque country have the highest incidence rate in Spain? And just below that, we can see that the Basque Premier, Mr. Urkullu, admits to having made mistakes to the relatives of more than 4,130 dead. So what is the problem in the Basque country at the moment? Why do they have such a high incidence rate when other places around the country have a low incidence rate? The places I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, the Valencian community and Murcia. Why in the north of Spain is the health situation so bad? The Premier there in the Basque country admitting that they have made mistakes, apologising to the families of the dead, but it could have something to do with the on-again, off-again policies that they have been implementing in some parts of Spain. They close bars and restaurants, they open bars and restaurants, they close them down again, then they open them up again. The case numbers go down, the case numbers go up, and that has been the trend around the country, but places just can't get the health situation under control. And again, that is probably why some people are deciding not to come to Spain on holiday this year. And we'll have a look at one final headline here in El Mundo about the Madrid elections, and it is the main one here. Isabel Díaz Ayuso consolidates her majority 1 week before the 4th of May by tying down the centre-right vote. So it looks as though Ms. Ayuso will be re-elected here in Madrid unless something drastically goes wrong. She probably won't have enough votes to govern on her own. She'll most likely need the support of one of the minority parties, but as we just saw there, she has managed to tie down that centre-right vote. Now we'll leave El Mundo there, go to El País, check out what is happening in El País today. And the main story there on the left, survey, 78% of PP voters support that Ayuso governs with Vox. And the main story there on the right about the current health situation in India. The world mobilizes given the out-of-control situation of the coronavirus in India. Experts stress the need to speed up the vaccination process in developing countries to stop the proliferation of variants. And it is extremely worrying what's happening in India at the moment, and my thoughts go out to all of the people there in India that are having to deal with this terrible health situation. Let's hope you can get the health situation there under control soon. Now we'll go back into the news, and there's an article here about the vaccination program here in Spain. We'll click on that one, and the headline reads that almost half of people between the ages of 60 and 69 have already received a dose of the COVID vaccine. 2/3 of the most vulnerable Spaniards due to their age are already immunized with at least one dose. So slowly, Spain is getting vaccines into some of the most vulnerable members of this society. Almost 50% of the 60 to 69 age group vaccinated, and I know that people between the ages of 70 and 79 have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. I know that is the case of my girlfriend's parents. They were called up last week to have their shots. The Pfizer vaccine, I think it was, the one that they received, and no problems whatsoever. Now we'll leave El País there, go into El Confidencial, check out what is happening there, and we'll have a look at the vaccination campaign countrywide, and we can see that 8.47% of the population have completed their vaccines. We'll have a look at some of the autonomous communities, starting with Andalusia, and we can see that they're now up to 8.37% of the population completed. The Balearic Islands, 6.44%, Catalonia, 8.18%, Valencian community, 7.84%, and Madrid, 7.03%. And we'll have a look at the main headline El Confidencial is going with here. A 4th of May out of control, overacting with death threats has blown up the campaign. 6 days before the regional elections in Madrid, the campaign has finished blowing up with a new threat, this time directed at Isabel Díaz Ayuso. The letter with bullets was intercepted by the Mossos de Escuadra in Barcelona, and the package is added to those received in previous days. So yet another threat in the form of an envelope filled with bullets sent to one of the prominent politicians here in Spain, this time the Premier of Madrid, Isabel Díaz Ayuso. And it seems that if you're not getting one of these threatening envelopes, you're just not very popular. And unfortunately, it all just goes to show how ridiculous this election campaign in Madrid is at the moment. And to be honest, I feel sorry for people that have to vote for these politicians. Now we'll leave El Confidencial, go to the state broadcaster, see what's happening there. And speaking of the devils, we can see some of the main politicians here in Spain. On the left, we've got Pedro Sánchez, the Prime Minister. We've got the leader of the opposition, Pablo Casado. We've got the leader of Vox, Santiago Abascal. Down the bottom there, we have Pablo Iglesias on the left. Then we have the leader of the Citizens Party. And then on the bottom right, we have the leader of the political party Más País. Now we'll have a look at this article here about Andalusia. We'll click on that one, and the headline reads that Andalusia is reopening mobility between its provinces from this Thursday after more than 3 months of restrictions. The measures will take effect from 12 midnight on Thursday, April the 29th. So finally, people down there in Andalusia get back a little bit of mobility, able to travel between provinces again. And that's been one of the big problems that they've had down in that part of the world, people not being able to see family that live in another province. People from Cordoba haven't been able to travel to Seville, people from Seville haven't been able to travel to Granada, and people from Malaga haven't been able to travel to Almeria. But as we just saw, starting later this week, those internal borders down there in Andalusia are going to open up again. Now we'll leave the news there, go into the comment section, check out what is happening there today. And we'll have a look at this one here from Adrian. Hi Stuart, we are moving to Madrid for 2 or 3 years so my wife can finish her PhD. We have a dog which we will bring with us. Wondering if anyone from Australia has taken their pets to Madrid. What is the process involved? Cheers, Stuart. Love your blog. Yeah, Adrian, thanks for the comment. I'm not really sure what the rules are when it comes to bringing a dog from a country like Australia to Spain. I know that it's fairly easy to move pets around the European Union from one European Union country to another, but I'm not sure what the rules are when you're coming from outside the EU. I'm not sure if there is any quarantine for pets when they come into the European Union, but I imagine that there might be something along those lines. I imagine that you will need some type of certificate showing that your dog has received its vaccinations. But as I said, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to open the question up to the community because I'm sure that there is somebody out there who could give us some more detailed information on what you need to do to bring your pets from outside the European Union into a country like Spain. So please let us know in the comment section below if you have any information for Adrian. One here from Robian Music. Ola Stuart, if the state of alarm comes to an end on the 9th of May, how can any of the autonomous communities restrict travel? With the end of the state of alarm, there will be no longer any law in place to enforce any such restrictions. Yeah, Robian, thanks for the comment. I'm not sure anybody knows exactly what's going to happen after the 9th of May. I think the autonomous communities are still trying to work out whether or not they can restrict people's mobilities, stop people leaving and stop people entering the autonomous communities around the country, but I don't think there's anything official yet. We've seen some places say, for example, Galicia, that they are going to ask for some type of COVID-19 vaccination passport to allow people to enter that autonomous community. And I think some other places are saying something similar, but I've also heard various politicians around the country say that people can start making holiday plans after the 9th of May as well. I think the tourism minister said that, and there were places around the country that did experience an increase in hotel bookings after that date as well. And as we just saw a couple of minutes ago, Andalusia has decided to allow travel around provinces again. So maybe that is one of the first steps to allow people to be able to travel freely around the country again after May the 9th. But who knows? We'll wait and see. And we'll have a look at one final comment here from Stan. Thank you, excellent news for Spanish travel. Any idea if this will include Portugal? And as far as COVID passports, it is not new. I still have a vaccination card from years ago. As you said, a lot of countries have required certain vaccines prior to entry and have done so for years. Yes, Dan, thanks for the comment. All of this talk about the European Union opening up for tourists this summer, especially people from the United States, is Europe-wide. That means Spain, it means Portugal, it means France, it means Italy, it means every one of those European Union countries, and it's all going to depend on when this green travel certificate, that's what they're calling it here, a certificate that will allow people to travel between European countries, is available, and I think that is going to be sometime in June or maybe July. Don't quote me on that date. At the moment, things are a little bit different because you can't travel freely to some European countries. For example, here in Spain, we can't travel freely to Portugal because the border is closed. But once that opens up again, and once the European Union opens up again to international travel, it's going to be, as I said, all of those countries in the European Union bloc. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.